All right, guys, this is day one of the strike with Kaiser against the UNAC nurses here. And, I'm telling you, something weird's going on because, it's like it's us here in California, over out in New York, they're striking. Kaiser's not over there, but, that's what we're having. So, and then we got nurses coming up here. And all we want is patient safety, fair contract, and, fair wage. Because, the expenses in California and also in New York, very expensive. So it's kind of hard to make a living if we can't keep up with it. But that's not really the point. The point is healthcare seems to be in jeopardy. And I say this because it just seems like there's something weird going on. It's just like, why all of a sudden, we got New York striking, we got California striking with Kaiser Permanente, and, they're for different reasons, but the same agenda. Kaiser Permanente's contract with the union and with the nurses expired last year, September 30th. And we've been trying to get Kaiser to the table, have some good talks in good faith, and bargain for a contract, a decent contract, for patient safety. And let me just run it down here a little bit. Okay, all the stuff that's been implemented with Kaiser, I guess I should just start of, what my day is like with Kaiser. Okay, so part of the stuff that happens is, if you go to a regular hospital that's non-unionized, you have to wonder, are they going through education? Are they going through training? Do they try to keep your skills up? And, that way, when you go to Kaiser Permanente, you're getting the cream of the crop, the best of the best. I'm not tooting my own horn here. There are some nurses out there that are just prime. They know their stuff, they care, and they get really good patient care. But if you take that away, if you take the education away, if you take all this malarkey away, and then all it is just for profit, then who loses? You guys, the patients. So in a typical year, okay, every year we have to go through a skills lab, okay? I'm gonna go back here because I'm gonna have the hospital in the background here. We go through rigorous training. We learn how to do, PICC lines. We learn how to do IVs, wound care, tests. I mean, we do it every year. We have to get signed off. If we can't do it, then we have to get retrained, okay? And then if we don't get signed off, we can't go back out on the floor. We'll probably get maybe suspended a little bit until we learn how to do these skills. Okay, we also have what they call KP Learn. KP Learn is we're educated on, harassment, what to do if like this scenario comes around. I mean, we are trained every year. Every year we are trained, okay? I don't know if you can name any other hospital that does that. I can't, okay? We have to go through all this stuff. So if you guys think we're just out here for a fair wage, no, we're out here for patient safety. We're also out here to maintain our education. And, I don't know how else to explain it, but if the union wasn't there, all those implementations wouldn't be there. There would be no education. There would be no upkeep to make sure that your nurse knows what they're doing. Okay, and that's crucial. So if Kaiser wants to break the union and get rid of the union, again, who loses? The members do. The ones that pay premium to get, the quality, affordable care. I'm not sure about affordable anymore because I'm telling you, California really is expensive to live in now. Gosh, it's hard to put into words what the staff has to go through. Like, let's say if there was an error or some sort that happened in the hospital. So what happens is they have to form a plan so that error never happens again, and they implement it. I'll give you a prime example. When I worked at home health in Baldwin Park at the Kaiser, it is within my scope of practice to pull out a PICC line. It's within my scope of practice. I can do it. You know, it's part of it. But we had to be trained and signed off because something happened to where it required us to be trained for. That's part of what the union puts up. If the union wasn't there, we wouldn't have to go through training. It's like they would just say, well, it's your scope of practice, you need to do it. You know, that's the difference. That's the difference. It's mainly patient safety, the ratios, making sure that your nurses are educated. And that's part of what we're fighting for, because they're trying to take that away. They're trying to basically get more out of us so you'll have less staff and more duties to do, and that becomes unsafe. And then when we speak up about it, if you're in a non-union, you might not have a job anymore because you're trying to make it safe for you, trying to make it safe for the members or the patients. But when that is gone or eroded, what happens is the nurse will get replaced by someone else who's willing to say yes to it. So. All right, so sorry about all the rugged. So this is what we're fighting for. The truckers always do that because they're unionized too, and they know. But yeah, just think about it, guys. Like, if Kaiser loses the union, okay, where's the quality of the care going to go? Because it is a partnership, and we work together on it. But if one party doesn't want to come to the table and talk about it, then everybody loses. So this past weekend, before today, January 26th, Kaiser had called the union and say, hey, let's go back to the table. Let's start bargaining. But what they wanted to do was say, don't go out on strike. We'll come to the table and bargain. But the union's kind of smart. They go, no, you guys done this to us before. We've delayed. And then you guys go ahead and don't even show up. And that's what happened. They didn't show up. And I'll see if I can find that picture, but I'll put the picture up showing we were there as far as the union and the nurses and stuff. All the locals were there, but Kaiser was vacant. They weren't there. They didn't show up to their own party. So that kind of tells you, like, what the heck is going on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cross the street, walk the line, and that way you have a little bit of a background. I also want to let you guys know that there are other sets of hospitals striking, but this is in New York, okay? They've been striking out for, I think, 12, 13 days now, okay? And they're fighting for issues of safety. It's not safe. The ratios are just astronomical, 10 to 1, 10 patients to 1 nurse. And it gets really bad. Whereas over here in California, I think it's either 6 to 1 or 4 to 1. I forget which it is, but that's because it's safety, and that's a law. It's a state law in California for the nurses ratio. That is what the union brought up to make sure that the safety issues are there, okay, that they're being addressed. So I just want you guys to realize that this isn't just about fair wages. It's about getting a fair contract to where the ratios are manageable and they can be done safely for both the nurse and the patient. I want you guys to realize that. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and walk through so you guys can see what's going on with the line. I'm trying not to make this too long, but I also want to explain why we're here and why your care is getting interrupted. And that's mainly because Kaiser won't bargain with us. They haven't gone to the table since December 14th, and we've been making phone calls. We've been waiting for them, and they even called us, like I said, to show up. And we showed up for the party, but the hosts weren't there. You know, it's not really a good party. So let's go ahead and walk through, and then show you what it's like. Okay, so this is like my day and how I'm spending the first day of the strike. So it's not as big as the last one I was at, but you know, it's just one of the unions. There are several unions that, like last time, like all of us went out. We went out on a 5-day strike. So, but now we're going to be out here probably indefinitely. So it's basically what they call an open-ended strike. So we don't know when it's going to end, but here are the people that are going on strike, or they're on strike actually. And you know, these are the nurses. Yay! All right. So what do you think of all this?
Well, we need Kaiser to come back to give us a fair contract.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because this is unfair that everybody that is out here working so hard in front line, I mean, we all work to everybody. We care for our patients.
Yes, we do. We do.
And the headquarters, do they care? That's my question.
Yeah.
I can't speak for them.
Right.
But why we're here?
Yeah.
Because we care for our patients.
And I was explaining that a lot of the education that we get comes from the union,
Exactly.
not Kaiser.
Yes, exactly.
So that makes a big difference, and that brings forth patient safety.
Right. I mean, we're supposed to be
Yay! Woo! Yeah.
Union helps us, and you know, that's why we're together and fighting, because we need to have we're human. We are not God. We can't do anything. We just have to be, you know, showing our solidarity and you know, just helping.
Yeah, because everybody needs health care. Yeah. So if Kaiser has a motto of quality, affordable care.
You know what though? They say that, but how much money they're making in profits.
Right.
And we're here to ask for just for fair. Fairness.
That's it.
That's it. We're not greedy. So who's the greedy one?
Right. I agree with you.
Right. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like, as she was saying, we just want something fair, and this is for everybody. So, but this is my first day here, and you know, we're just trying to get what's right, what's fair, and we're trying to make sure. There we go. Yes.
Lightning and the thunder.
I'm probably gonna get tagged on that, but that's okay. We'll go around here. Sometimes it gets congested here, but yeah, see all these people, they're the nurses, they're the physical therapists, they're the pharmacists out here that assist you guys every day. And then, you know, we care. But we're just trying to get Kaiser to the table, and they're just refusing to come to the table to talk to us. And that's just not in good faith, as they say. So, but this is my day. This is how I'm going to spend it until about noontime. And these are the people that are fighting for everybody's rights.
Yes.
Yay, let's go, right? So, but I want you guys to realize that this is going to go for the long run. I don't think this is going to be short. So, am I going to be here every day? I don't know, because there might be a possibility I might have to look for other avenues of income. But, you know, it's just going to be sad that, you know, if this continues, then, you know, who's going to be the loser end on this one? Is it going to be Kaiser, or is it going to be the patients? Because, you know, if you have smart nurses out there that are flexible and they can do almost anything, then they're the ones that are going to be, they're the ones that you guys are going to lose. So, Kaiser, if you're listening to this, come back and just talk to us. You know, I'm not saying come back with a deal, but just talk to us and let's just try to work things out. Because, you know, if you can't talk to us, then I don't know. I don't know what you guys are going to do, because the side of quality that you guys are boasting about is going to go down, and you're going to wind up where your patients, customers, members, however you want to call them, are going to leave. Okay, so let's get to the table, let's talk, let's make some sense and work out a deal. Okay, so that was day one of the UNAC Kaiser strike. So it is an unnecessary strike. It's just we want Kaiser to come back to the table to talk to us. That's all. And, you know, guys talk it out to try to get a fair deal, fair contract. That's what we're looking for. But, you know, I don't know why Kaiser wants to play games. You know, you're just kind of messing with everybody's lives or whatever. But, okay, with all that, try not to be insulting here, but if you guys would have just gone to the table and talked, whether you guys agreed or disagreed, I don't think this strike would have ever happened, okay? So we throw the ball in your corner, Kaiser. You have the ball. Now let's just get back to the table. Let's bargain in good faith, okay? Stop playing games, and let's just get a contract. Let's get this going. Because the only people that are going to be suffering are going to be your members, the patients, okay? They rely on you guys. We just want to make sure that everything just, I don't know, it's hard for me to put into words, you know, because a lot of the words that I want to put out, kind of a little bit of anger in there, because this should not have happened. Should have been able to just go to the table, talk, even if there's disagreements, we can work it out, okay? Everybody's reasonable, but for some reason there's games being played. I always sense like patterns and stuff like that. So what I'm looking at is, like I mentioned earlier, you got the strike going on in New York with their nurses for unsafe practices, okay? And then you've got us, we're striking because our contract is out. Our contract is only for like 4 years. So we're trying to get a new contract, a new deal where everybody's happy. But that's not the case right now. You know, we're trying to get Kaiser back to the table. Even their own invites, they like, you know, ghost us. What? Kaiser, come on. Come on. So, As far as me walking the line, being part of the strike and everything, I'm probably going to do this once a week. You know, like I said in my other video, opportunities, okay? So I am the only income in my household. So I have to find other avenues of income while I'm trying to fight for a fair contract here at Kaiser. I want to retire at Kaiser. I want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. So with that, I have to find other avenues of income to supplement so I don't bleed my accounts dry. And that's not the reason why I'm doing this. You know, I want to be able to save up for my retirement, but if this goes in for the long run, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, like I said, I'll go out and support. I'll not show up for work as per the union, as per whatever is lawful and legal, okay? If they tell us to go back to work, go back to work. Okay, simple as that. But in support of Kaiser coming back and us getting a fair contract, I'm going to support the union, okay? And though sometimes I disagree with the union on how some things are going, it's all for the better good, okay? There's no way we're going to get a perfect contract. You know, that's known. But if we can get most of what we can for patient safety, fair wage, fair benefits, then it's all going to be worth it if we can get close enough to where both parties are satisfied with, you know, the big deal, okay? So, no more mudslinging. No more, you know, playing games. Let's just get serious here. Because if Kaiser does what they promise of providing quality, affordable care, then you guys are going to make money. Because if the nurses that are trained to do the job are there to do the job, then people will be attracted to that. It's kind of like a moth to a flame. If you give the people what they want, they're going to come back, okay? If you give them the quality care, they're going to come back. If you give them a fair deal, they're going to come back, okay? But if you don't provide those services that you promise, I don't know if they're going to stay. This is not a threat. This is fact. And you can try to turn my words around, but it's fact. You provide quality, affordable care like you promise in your mottos. You will get the people to come. You will make the money that you're looking for. And you are providing a service to the community. So with that, I will see you guys next week when I post another strike video, if we're still on strike. And I'll keep posting videos about the strike weekly as long as we are on strike. Like I said, I have a feeling we're going to be in for the long run. But I'm just hoping that you guys, and I'm talking to Kaiser, come back to the table and negotiate in good faith, okay? And let's just get the deal done. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't want to say I hope you guys enjoyed this, because there's nothing to enjoy about this, because everybody loses when there's a strike going. You know, whether it's the party that's striking, whether it's the company you're striking against, or whether it's the patrons, the patients, whatever company it is, no one wins during this period, okay? So that's why I keep saying, we gotta get back to the table, we gotta keep bargaining in good faith, and we gotta, you know, make a deal somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect because there is no perfect contracts. But I'm just hoping that we can work things out, talk about it. All right, guys? Well, thank you guys for watching. And, you know, I think good luck to everybody, even Kaiser. Good luck to you guys. And we'll see you next week.